Hello and welcome back to Next Gen. And yeah, it really is that bad. But before we really get into it, I have to say the reason that I'm actually doing this. I posted this on Twitter. Maybe I should pull it up actually. It's X, formerly known as Twitter. I should say this was some time ago. This is when it was really starting to go around again. This exact this travesty, this literary travesty is what I called it then, and I stand by my words. Oh boy, my computer is completely freaking out tonight, so I don't know what is happening. No, it's just stop fucking up and oh, that was a very frustrating movie. Very frustrating. Anyways, oh boy. Okay, so April 11th, so beginning or middle of this month ish. I posted I'll be having a review on this literary tragedy that has happened with the intent of reminding Angel Studios who their base is and encouraging them to return to their roots, and that is just what I'm doing because as we all knew exactly what this movie was about, it was a based on the trailer alone, we knew it was going to be a pro-communist, anti-capitalist movie, wearing a skin suit that is supposed to be Animal Farm. I'm checking to make sure my stream is good to go, but it is being goofy right now because my computer is freaking out, so I'm hoping that it's still up and going. Okay, good. It's still up and going. Okay, so, yes. There are movies and shows that are in the works that have to do with Angel Studios that I am very enthusiastic about, that I'm hopeful for. Those being, of course, Young Washington and the Chosen is not over yet, and the Chosen's very good, very well done. Like it a lot, and I'm excited for Young Washington. Though I will say, watching this has somewhat, made me more cautious. I'm kind of being more skeptical, based solely on the fact of what I just witnessed tonight. It was a tragedy. I mean, it was a Greek tragedy at that. It was so bad, guys. And to really adequately, I'm just going to go ahead and warn you now. I'm going to be doing a full spoiler, so if you plan on watching that propaganda film, I would click off. But if you just want to know what it's about, I got you. I'm going to also be spoiling Animal Farm, but seeing how that book is 80 years old at this point. If you don't know about it, that's kind of on you at this point. I just have a few notes. It's been a little while since I've read Animal Farm. I'll kind of give you the spark notes on it, but anyways, we'll go ahead and jump right into it. That's the best way that I know how to really do this. Is I'm going to go over the story of Animal Farm, and then I'll go over the movie and really where it gets everything wrong. I don't know how long this is going to be. And if you're a new viewer here, previously I talked about how I was thinking about going live every weekday. I've been dwelling on that thought. I'm really busy, and while I would love to do that, go weekly, the I don't have. I've got bills to pay, right? So I have a full time job, just like all of you out there. Sorry if you hear me clearing my throat or coughing. It's because I've had allergies all week and they've been kicking my ass. But anyways, I want to give the best content that I can for you guys, not only entertainment wise, but also just oh man, it really has messed me up, this terrible thing. But information wise, and then that takes time. So I don't think that I'd be able to deliver as good of a product to you as you deserve if I was to go every night, right? It would be kind of flying by the seat of my pants. I might get more stuff wrong just because I don't have time to actually look at it. This kind of thing. So in order to deliver the best product to you that I can, and to be as completely upfront as possible as well, I don't want to do that. I mean, I do want to do that, but I don't think I'd be delivering the best product as it is right now. So, if you're seeing this, yes, I'm doing this on a weeknight because I'm a little guy, and in order for this video to get out there, I probably have to just be like first to the punch. So I'm doing it live, no script. I literally just got back from the movie theater from watching this movie. Oh boy, was it bad. Oh boy, was it bad. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into Animal Farm. I'm going to give you the Spark Notes version, and then we can power through the movie as well. And maybe I summarize with some final thoughts. This is literally flying by the seat of my pants as it is right now. But yeah, Animal Farm, George Orwell. We have to kind of get into a little bit of what that actually is, okay? And Animal Farm is it's a novella, for starters, it's a small novel, right? Anyways, it is a critique on Stalinist Russia, right? On the Bolshevik Revolution. George Orwell, and we just have to be completely honest here, and this is just the truth. George Orwell was a self-avowed socialist, democratic socialist from, birth till death. Like all of his writings are that. So it is a critique on Stalinist Russia, on communism from a democratic socialist point of view. And I'm just going to cut this off at the head. If you are one of those idiots out there that thinks that Animal Farm is a critique on capitalism, you're a dumbass. Okay, it's just not. The reason I say that, again, critique on the Bolshevik Revolution, on Stalin's Russia. At what point was that capitalist? Right? It was the monarchy, and then you had your revolution with your proletarians, your Bolsheviks, right? And then there was another part of it. We're not really going to get into too much on that. But anyways, no part of it is a critique on capitalism, like what some people want to make you believe, because they've been lied to their entire life. So let's really get into it. I just want to cut that off at the pass, because some idiots will go, well, they're just sticking true to the roots because Animal Farm was always about a critique on capitalism. If you think I'm lying to you, I promise you those people exist. So let's really get into it. Animal Farm, Spark Notes version. Let's power through it. Don't want to waste too much time. Animal Farm starts with Old Major. Okay, he's like the Karl Marx of Animal Farm. He is the one with the vision. He gives his, animal utopia vision to the rest of the animals. The animals dwell on it. Old Major ends up dying, and then one day, okay, and so there's the farms, right? So there's manor farms where the animals are actually at the beginning of Animal Farm, and they are meant to represent the monarchy, okay? That's what all the farms are meant to represent, is the monarchy ruling over all the animals. Now, the animals, the Farmer Jones gets drunk and neglects to feed them, so they get pissed off. They break into the feed shed. Farmer Jones comes out with whips, starts whipping him to get him out of the feed shed. They throw a revolution, kick Jones out of there. That's how the revolution actually starts. Later on, Jones will come back to try to reclaim it. They fight him, called Battle of Cowshed. That's not in the movie at all. No surprise there. But we're not talking about the movie yet. Okay, so then they have their Beasts of England song that they sing, and then they write down these rules, right? So whatever goes on 2 legs is an enemy, whatever goes on 4 legs or has wings is a friend. No animal shall wear clothes, no animal shall sleep in a bed, no animal shall drink alcohol, no animal shall kill any other animals, and all animals are equal. That's the rules that they come up with, right? Well, shortly after that, there's like the 2 ruling pigs, right? Because the pigs are like and George Orwell specifically picked pigs and dogs and sheep. Like, he was very specific about the animal choices that he made, okay? And so he specifically picked pigs because they're the smartest of the barnyard animals, as like the leaders of this communist utopia that they're supposed to be, okay? Now, Napoleon, he takes the puppies away from the dogs and takes them up to the top of the barn and starts educating them, if that doesn't sound familiar. Anyways, takes them away from their parents and starts educating them away where no one can see, no one can get to. And then so back and forth, you've got there's still like the democratic socialism part of this is Napoleon and Snowball are these 2 figureheads, and they're arguing back and forth, and they're vying to get the most votes. This is, again, the book, obviously. And whoever they vote for, Snowball has the good ideas, and then Napoleon's like the charismatic one, okay? And Snowball is supposed to represent a character called Leon Trotsky, who gets chased out of Russia, which is exactly what happens in the book. And then Napoleon is supposed to be your Stalin figure, okay? And when George Orwell wrote this book, he was meaning it specifically as an allegory, again, for the communist revolution, the communist uprising in Russia, the USSR, that specific thing. However, he wrote it in such a way as to encapsulate all like authoritarianism movements, whether it be, whatever, it doesn't matter. Just this specific one is communism, and we'll kind of get back to that at the end. I'm really trying to breeze through this, but I've already spent too much time on this. Anyways, so we're gonna go through the spark notes. We're gonna just rapid fire. So they're talking about building the windmill. Napoleon convinces them or is trying to convince him that it's bad. He objects to the windmill. Snowball wants the windmill. He doesn't. Napoleon has no good ideas, but the animals are liking it, and so lo and behold, Napoleon calls the dogs on Snowball and has him chased off the farm. You don't know if he's dead or if he's just gone. He becomes like a thing that they blame all the bad things that happen on Animal Farm on. Okay, so that's what we're looking at here. And then you start to get like changing of the history, the breaking of rules. So like the pigs start sleeping in the house. And then they change the rule to no sleeping in a bed with sheets, right? And then the changing of the Battle of the Cowshed, the history of it, Snowball didn't lead us to victory because Snowball's the whole reason they won the Battle of the Cowshed, right? He was the red one. And then, they're trying to get stuff because Napoleon, after they sell, is this even working well? Okay, we're good. After they sell, after he chases Snowball off, Napoleon is like, no, actually, after all, we are going to make the windmill to generate electricity. It was actually a good idea. I wanted it, but Snowball was being really weird about it. So you're welcome for chasing him off. And so in order to get materials for it, because they don't have all the right materials, right? They're just on a farm. They have to make some money. And what Napoleon does is he starts taking eggs from the chickens and selling them. Well, the chickens get mad. They go up in the top of the barn, lay the eggs. They fall down and break. And for that, Napoleon has the chickens that rebelled killed. And then he changes the rule and abolishes the songs, the Beasts of England song that they would sing with Old Major Skull and the flag with the horn and hoof on it. And they changed the rule to no killing other animals without cause. And this is when Napoleon attempts to swindle the surrounding farms because they have two neighboring farms. It doesn't work. And then Farmer Frederick attacks Animal Farm. Animal Farm prevails. Napoleon starts wearing clothes. Animal Farm, they change more rules because they're celebrating after their victory. They change the rule to no animal shall drink alcohol in excess. That is another rule change, right? All pigs start wearing ribbons to like separate themselves from the working class and all the other animals. And by the way, we'll get into it. Like I said, I'm just trying to spark notes through this. They further reduce rations. And then this is like, so the windmill has been destroyed a couple times. Well, the second time it gets really destroyed, and of course they blame it on Snowball, and whatnot. And they say, oh, he's just trying to sabotage Animal Farm, right? Well, Boxer exhausts himself trying to get it built for all the animals on Animal Farm by dragging these stones up and then them rolling down and breaking. He goes down, and then the animals like carry him back to the barn, and they're trying to rehabilitate him. And while the animals are away working, Napoleon has him sold to the knacker, where they make him into to food and to glue and stuff like that. And it's, yeah, we'll get into that later, I guess. And all the animals are like, they're really upset about it, obviously, because he's like the workhorse, right? And it's like harkens back to the very beginning of the book when they're talking about how cruel it is under Jones, and the fact that like when Napoleon says it directly to Boxer, when your muscles get weak, they'll sell you to the knacker to boil you into foxhound meat, and and at that time they're also talking about tying bricks around dogs' necks and throwing them into the pond too when they get too old and they're useless. So it harkens back to that, and you like really see, oh, that's you getting the same thing that you already had, right? They finally compete the windmill, only it doesn't generate electricity like it was supposed to. The animals are proud to be the only farm in England owned and operated by animals. Pigs start walking on two legs. and all the commandments are removed and replaced by all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. All pigs start walking on two legs, and Napoleon starts smoking a pipe. Humans praise Animal Farm. We're getting to the very end. Like I said, we're getting the spark notes done, and then we'll get into the actual movie here. Humans praise Animal Farm because the animals do the most amount of work and eat the least amount of food. So all the humans are celebrating with the pigs in the farmhouse on what was Manor Farm and then was Animal Farm, and at this point now it's changed back to Manor Farm, and all evidence of the revolution has been removed and erased, so history erased, removed, and Old Major's skull and the hoof and horn, because they have this flag, has been removed. The hoof and horn flag, right? Like kind of like the sickle and whatever for USSR. And Animal Farm's name is then changed to Manor Farm, and the pigs and men become inextinguishable as they're looking in at the house, right? As they're all cheersing and celebrating. Okay, now we can kind of get into the movie because there's some stuff I kind of grazed over there. Now, Animal Farm is the movie. It is wearing a skin suit that is supposed to be, this critique on communism. Now, the thing that is so egregious about it, it's not merely that it's what it's supposed to be, and that it's thinly veiled propaganda. It's that it does it so poorly. Okay, that's what's really frustrating. Now, the whole reason for me doing this, all of this, it's kind of people have been talking about it throughout the week. And we're just gonna jump right into it because there's no easy way around it. These conservatives, I understand they have bills to pay. It's not really an excuse. I'm sorry. It's not really an excuse to sell out your values, even if it's to a company like Angel. Again, I like the work that they've done. I'm excited for some of the work that is in works, though now I am looking at it more skeptically. I'm worried about it. Okay. And the reason I say that is because we have stuff like this. So this is from Riley Gaines. If you don't know, she's the one that lost the race in the swim meet to that transgender individual who shouldn't been there, who should not have been competing in the first place. And this is very interesting. This has been commented on before, but anyways, she put, my husband and I got early access to a screening to Animal Farm, an animated adaptation of George Orwell's novel made by Angel Studios. Incredibly well done. They do a perfect job of reminding viewers that Marxism has and always will fail. Now, the thing is, in theaters May 1st, Animal Farm partner. Now, my specific theater had an early viewing. It came out today, so not the first. And what's egregious about that is in no place does it really, it doesn't ever critique Marxism or communism. Not one time. Okay. Now, the second part is this one. And let me see if this is a completely different tweet. Just a completely different post on X. My wife and I got an early access screening to Animal Farm, an animated adaptation of George Orwell's novel made by Angel Studios. Incredibly well done. They do a perfect job of reminding viewers that Marxism always has and always will fail. In theaters May 1st, Animal Farm partner. That's interesting. Those are the exact same tweet from two different individuals. Now, obviously, they're copy and pasting from a script. That's not very surprising. Now, the thing is, if you're going to sell it your values, at least put some work into it. That's very egregious as well to me. Zero care whatsoever. And the big thing is, if Angel Studios had just apologized, just took it on the chin instead of going out there and doing this mass media, right? They're paying so much in order to get these different influencers to promote their movie, and they're just digging themselves a deep hole. Because my movie theater was completely empty. Completely. Now, I get it. It said it's going to be on May 1st, so maybe it'll be more full tomorrow. I'm kind of glad it was completely empty because I hemmed and hawed my way through that entire thing. That was terrible. That is not a movie for you, dear viewer. If you like propaganda, then I got a movie for you. If you like propaganda, that's the movie for you. Not even good propaganda. It's just bad. I didn't laugh one time. I didn't smile one time. Now, I get it's made for children, which is the worst part because the specific viewer that they're kind of going after is like a younger viewer based off of animation and kind of the just lowbrow gags that they have inside of it. However, the material of the show is kind of mature, actually, and the book is too. And I kind of like to talk about that. Like, this is probably a good time to talk about that. If you have like I mean, I'm not a communist, so I'm not going to decide when it is a good time for you to read that book to your child. It does have some more mature themes in it, okay? But if you think that your child is mature enough to handle themes such as like the murder and death and corruption, like these kind of dark things, okay, and selling out friends and people who are supposed to be your like comrades and stuff like that, then that I think it's a good time, to read it as early as possible, but not too early, right? When they can handle it, when they can understand, when they can grasp it. So don't go reading it to a 4-year-old, but maybe a very mature 8-year-old if you're reading it to him as a bedtime story, right? I think, it should be required reading. Unfortunately, it is not required reading in school as far as I know it, but it really should be. I think a lot of us would say that. But anyways, back to exactly what I was talking about. So that I showed you those. They copied off a script. Here's Tucker Carlson, another one. I grabbed all these so that they can't delete them on me. I just want to show you. Paid partnership with Angel Studios, see Animal, blah, 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 blah. Really, really gross. Although Tucker, I will say, has been kind of going down a not great path, in my opinion, with the goodwill that he had built up with people on the right, and how he's kind of abandoning them now is kind of yucky. But anyways, Emily Saves America, as far as I understand, she's a larger account, and she says all animals are equal, some animals are more equal than other. Animal Farm in theaters May 1st, so obviously a paid promotion, just like the other ones. Conservative count, shilling. I don't know, grifting for certain, unless you've been lying this entire time. If you're a conservative personality who's built up an audience, you are undeniably now grifting for a pro-communist, anti-capitalist movie, and that's the most egregious part to me. That is the most aggravating part to me, and that's partially the reason why I've started this channel. I know I'm brand new, but if you are sick of this, follow this channel down below. I'm not going to do this crap to you. I would rather go sleep in a van down by the river than to shill for these companies. Angel, at the beginning of the movie, you put up a little graphic that said that the guild members voted on this. They may have voted on the fact that they wanted an Animal Farm movie, but they wanted an Animal Farm movie, not a movie that promoted communism and denigrated capitalism, because that's not what Animal Farm is, no matter what these communist freaks want to tell you. No amount of propaganda is going to be able to change what those words say, but that they've said since 1945. All right, and to really, there's been several, I don't want to get too much into it, there has been several interviews with Andy Serkis, who I like his performance, I liked him as Gollum, right, as Smeagol in Lord of the Rings. I can't think of another movie that he's in that I like. Obviously, he's the best Gollum that there has been, likely ever will be. Wonderful job. Not a very wise person, it would seem. Anyways, just really seal how much these showrunners, this director, these actors don't like you. I have a clip for you, and then one more image, and then we're going to get right into the actual movie itself. And so here's Andy Serkis. He's wearing a hat. You can see they're all in there. Yeah, laughs and smiles. The hat, you can't really see it very well. We got a better image of it. He's on the premiere of it, right? This is April 21st, 2026. The premiere show of the movie when they're showing it to all the critics. His hat says "Make Animal Farm Fiction Again," and it's all red. And it's obviously to invoke the MAGA hat to poke the finger, which, whatever, fine. If you want to do that, that's great. It's obvious propaganda. It's obviously anti-Trump, all that stuff. I get it. You don't like the guy. Can I just have a freaking Animal Farm movie, though? One of my favorite books growing up or in school. Super good. Just like not enough positive praise can be said about it, actually, even though I would disagree with George Orwell on his political stance on democratic socialism, largely because every time that democratic socialism happens, it devolves into communism every single time without failure. If you don't believe me, go look at history, okay? Before Mao Zedong, democratic socialism. Before Stalin, before Lenin, democratic socialism. Every single time. Every single time. And here's the image that I'm talking about, and this is kind of yucky to me. This is on Angel's website. If you go into Angel and go to shop, you'll find the two things. One, they're kind of having a good gag that they turned the working class into glue. They're selling a bundle of a theatrical ticket plus glue bundle, and they're selling the Animal Farm Animal Farm Fiction Again trucker hat on their own website. Whatever. Again, they're trying to recoup costs. All right. That's probably all the ranting for as far as everything outside of the movie goes. It's just you were supposed to be on our side. We the God-fearing, the right-wing individuals are the ones that supported you with things like Sound of Freedom, The Chosen, all these different movies, all these different TV shows. We're largely the group that is a part of the guild, and this is what you repay us as. And then you don't even have the goodwill to just take it on the chin, say we messed up, we're just going to eat this one, I apologize. You have to lie to us to try and get us to watch your damn movie. That's real disgusting. Okay, let's get into the actual movie. Let's actually critique it. It begins... I'm just going to try to fly through this as well. It begins with all the animals are gathering down below the house. They're all walking into a cattle hauler. They're saying, "Oh, we're going on a vacation." And then Jones wakes up. He's clearly drunk. Again, this is a children's movie. They say like, what do they say? Naughty juice or whatever the hell they say instead of alcohol to keep it more kid friendly. But Jones is like inebriated. Like you can't understand a word he says. He's picks up Snowball. If they flail around, he says something that you can't be, it's incomprehensible. He runs into the truck, the door opens up, Snowball sees that it says slaughterhouse. They all freak out, they bust out, they kick all the humans out. So that's kind of like the revolution. And this is the really gross part, is they do like in order to make capitalism look bad, they can't do true capitalism. They can't do what capitalism actually is. Like if you want to do a critique on cronyism, I'm here for it. I don't like cronyism. No one likes cronyism except for cronies, right? They can't do true capitalism because then it wouldn't look bad. They have to do some half version of communism and capitalism. So they take all the bad parts of communism and they take all the bad parts of capitalism and they just slam them together and call it capitalism. And that's not what's happening. So all the animals down below, they're in communism. But the pigs up top are in capitalism. It makes no damn sense because Boxer would be one of the more wealthier animals if there was private ownership, which there is no private ownership on the farm unless you're the pigs, which really is just communism, right? The pigs run it all. And so they're really kind of boxing up communism and calling it capitalism and just saying, oh, because it has money in it, that makes it communism or capitalism instead of communism, which... There's money in communism. Sure, it's worth nothing because they just print it off sometimes, like down in Venezuela or wherever the hell. Argentina, right? Because inflation's so out of control there in some of those places. I know that those places are starting to turn around, but anyways, they can't even give you a true version of it to actually critique it. They have to give you some perverse version of it in order for their bullshit version to even work, okay? I'm really going to try to make this under an hour. We've already been going for 34 minutes-ish. Anyways, so The animals they get their farming, whatever. They harvest their first year. They store half of it for winter, and again, there's getting kind of like it's kind of like there's parts of the book that are there, but they don't keep the communist critique parts. Okay, like the actual critiques of it. They're just kind of like, oh, look at how good communism, and they just sprinkle it in there while trying to call it capitalism, like capitalism bad the entire time. Anyway, so that they save half of it. This is the part where they kick off Snowball when they're trying to build the windmill. And then Napoleon uses the dogs and kindly escorts Snowball off again because it's marketed towards a younger demographic. Anyways, so this is where it really gets into the capitalist part. Okay, after that, and by the way, all the animals, even the pigs, in large part, are portrayed as morons, which is again, it's for kids, but it's kind of offensive when we're talking about Animal Farm here. Which, it just kind of tells you what they think of the viewer, the people who, not necessarily Angel because they bought the rights to distribution, but them as a whole. Anyways, so the bank shows up and is trying to foreclose. They say, and they pull the trope, right? The magic green paper, right, is what they call it, and it's so gross. So the banker, they start selling off their goods to people to make the magic green paper, and they have enough to pay him for the month or whatever, as well as go to the mall and buy a whole bunch of stuff. And this is this would be a valid complaint, the consumerism that America is under. That's a valid complaint. However, the way that they address it is just egregious, to be honest with you. But beside the point, they go there. Napoleon gets pissed off because he's looking at the car and everybody's laughing. I'm like, oh, he's a pig. Look at that pig, blah, 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 blah. They go away. They go back. Some bullshit happens. Who cares? And then Napoleon comes rolling up, and you've seen this in the commercials where he does donuts around one of the other pigs. And by the way, there's a bunch of characters that just aren't in there. Like Molly's not in there. Squealer's in there, but Squealer's just like annoying. Really, really annoying when Squealer's supposed to be like this conniving propagandist arm of the Communist Party. He's just an annoying little brother type character. It's kind of unbearable, to be honest with you. But anyways, so he does donuts around him, rolls down the window. They say some shit. But what they don't show you in the trailer is that Pilkerton, I forget her first name, whatever, who cares. Pilkerton's an Animal Farm. He is a farmer in Animal Farm who owns Foxwood, I believe is what it is. Anyways, she is like supposed to represent the Elon Musks, right? These tech oligarchs of the world, and of course they're just evil because of that for whatever reason. But she looks just like Elon Musk's mom, and she's drives around in what the Tesla truck, whatever the hell it's called, the Cybertruck. It's just driving backwards. So it's just so ridiculous. This like cartoonish evil. It's so poorly done. So poorly done. It's not even a good critique on capitalism. But anyways, so she gives him a credit card. Napoleon's too stupid to understand at that point that you have to pay monthly on the credit card just like you do on the farm. So they go even deeper into debt. Wants to sell off the rest of the farm to, we'll just say Elon Musk's mom, because it's Pilkerton, but I don't remember her first name. Anyways, they come up with like a plan that all the animals in Animal Farm are going to get free food as long as they can build the hydroelectric dam on their property. They go forward with that plan. They build the hydroelectric farm. The way that they kill off Boxer is just stupid. He saves one of the... It almost seems like it's planned, because one of the stupid futuristic... I don't know if they're like autonomous or whatever, vehicles veers off the road and almost crushes one of the tech oligarch baddies that are, faceless. They're wearing those freaking hoods that you see in one of the trailers. But anyways, oh my God, it is so awful. Almost crushes him. Boxer puts a rope around the backhoe and pulls it up so that he can just slip out. The rope breaks just in the nick of time. Boxer goes down, literally has the line, "Horses don't survive broken legs." Like, oh my God, it's so unbearable. And then literally like, execute order 66. Like, Squealer comes out. It has like exact feel of that. He says some code words that is clear to the audience that it's, Boxer went down, make him into glue is basically what he says. And a freaking helicopter that says glue on it comes and picks him up and takes him off to the glue factory. Lucky, who's a new character, freaks out, goes up to the farmhouse, and is like, Napoleon, they're turning him into glue. A mistake happened. Napoleon's like, it wasn't a mistake, and tries to kick him off the farm. They devise a plan together, all the animals down on the bottom of the farm, and they're going to blow up the hydroelectric dam. And that's literally, it's literally they have another communist revolution at the end of the movie to symbolize that communism has always been good, is always the good part. That's literally what happens. It's so bad. And so that's like, that's really it. There's no Beasts of England. It's kind of gross because, like, if you're critiquing capitalism, right? What's the critique with Boxer going down and dying, right? Because the harder you work in capitalism, not cronyism again. If you work hard, you're smart, you will be well off. Meaning, if you have an accident, you won't be just like shipped off to the glue factory, right? Not like in Canada, right? We can bring up a communist type country that we have in modern day that's pretty close to home. In Canada with MAID, medical assistance in death, where they have basically perfectly healthy young adults, like in their mid-20s, early 20s, who are suffering from depression that are being medically assisted in death in Canada because they're a little sad. But somehow you got capitalism is bad from Animal Farm. And again, most of this wouldn't be so bad. It would be bearable if it wasn't for this. If you didn't see all this, and then you see this, and then are reminded that all that happened and was in the works when this happened, and that fact that Angel Studios was supposed to be, the leftists had Disney and all these other shithead companies where they can put out their propaganda movies, and we had Angel Studios. That's what we had. We had one. They were putting out, I'm not even, like, there's a couple movies that I won't watch again just because of how they make me feel. And I'm not talking about this. I'll watch this one. Maybe this time I'll be able to laugh at it because it's just so atrociously bad. Movies like Where the Red Fern Grows, the original Where the Red Fern Grows with the blonde-haired kid and the blue tick coon dogs. I can't watch that again. That movie kills me, okay? Not just when the first, like, I watched it one time, haven't watched it since. So it's like Lady in Red or something like that. When Lady is dead, sleeping on top of his grave, that kills me. And then the other one that I like literally do not think that I can watch again, just because it's like slow torture being confronted with this, and that's a good thing, by the way. Is again, not getting emotional, just literally allergies killing me. The Sound of Freedom, which is an Angel Studios movie. It's not that it's not bad. It's so good I don't want to watch it again. Like Where the Red Fern Grows, so good I don't want to watch it again. It gets its message through so well, I don't need a second viewing. Now, that wouldn't be the case in Animal Farm. It's pretty, the message is pretty straightforward in it, Communism bad, so people get it wrong, but I don't know how much more I can say. It is in no way, I mean, you have a vague, a childish form of the commandments that they make in the beginning. They don't take too much time, which they don't take that much time in the books either, though it is, very clearly made. The Napoleon taking the puppies doesn't come up too often, it doesn't come up super often except for, in the books, Napoleon has the puppies rip out the other throats animals who are the political dissenters, political enemies, like you would see in communism. They didn't put it in the movie because it doesn't apply in capitalism. Oh, there's a damaging in the rules. Again, it's just wearing a skin suit. Like, I don't know how else to say it other than Animal Farm, the movie, distributed by Angel Studios, is wearing a skin suit of George Orwell's masterpiece that is critiquing Stalinist Russia, authoritarian communism. There is really no Battle of the Cowshed, so there's no erasing of history that way. The end of the movie is literally a terrorist attack that kills everybody except for the animals. It's just cartoonishly bad. Don't let your kids watch it. Again, if you want to be propagandized, that's the movie for you. I really don't have too much for you. This is completely unscripted. That's the movie. I gave you all the key points. There's literally like fart jokes and stuff like that. The bananas and the apples don't come up, which is crucial, okay? In George Orwell's mind, that was the tipping point, okay? The apples and milk, when the pigs take the apples and the milk for themselves, George Orwell is screaming to his readers, this is the time when the animals should have corrected it so that they don't fall into communism. It just falls into communism every time. I'm sorry, George. I hope God rest your soul. I hope that you repented for all of your stuff and that you're going to go to heaven. But it falls into communism every single time. That's why democratic socialism is bad, okay? It's just not capitalism, man. I don't have any more to go. I think I've summarized it pretty well. Except for, like at the end of the book, right? It's like the last chapter or the second last chapter. That's when the pigs start walking on all fours. And so, or on all fours, on 2 feet. And that's when you're like, really are like, okay, yeah, they're just gonna. It was kind of like building and building and building to. They were just, the de facto monarchy. And when they start doing that, you're like, okay, you know exactly where it's going for sure. If you hadn't gotten it by then, you're getting it now. Versus when they go to the mall, or no, right after they get back from the mall, Napoleon's like, we have to start walking on two legs. And there's zero pushback from any of the animals. Lucky's like, are you sure? And then like, okay. Which Lucky's supposed to be like the protagonist of the movie. Zero pushback from the protagonist. They start wearing clothes immediately after that. It's just no pushback on it. That's all I have for you, folks. It's bad. It's so bad. Don't take your kids to it. It's marketed towards kids. It's real bad. Angel at this point seems to refuse to take it on the chin. They should have already took it on the chin instead of lying to their fan base. That's the real through line here. If you see nothing else, hopefully you see that. If Angel sees anything of this at all, that's the overarching story of this. You should have taken it on the chin, Angel. You should have said, we messed up. We didn't know what we were buying. I'm sorry. We're not going to put this movie out. We're going to bury this movie because of the tragedy that it is, and because the only reason that we are who we are is because of you. And then, they wouldn't be in bad graces with their fan base. That's all I have for you. I have to go to work tomorrow, and it's almost 10 o'clock at night. So I thank all of you for being here. God bless every last one of you. And I will see you next time.